And now, introducing the new Sneaky G-Man store on SD. All you got to do, go on to SD, type in Sneaky G-Man store, and you could get your very own Are You My Malacca shirt, Samsung cell phone case, or just a cap or a beanie. Let's go Giants. Ow. Hey guys, I appreciate you wanting to enjoy the show. First, I got to give a couple shout outs. First off, I want to give a shout out to dresscomfy.com. She has the latest and greatest for Sneaky G-Man merch. So please, check it out. dresscomfy.com. Also want to give a shout out to 3 a.m. Water Hydration for the go-getters. Natural spring water. Go get it. Now let's go do the damn thing. Before we do the damn thing, I got to give a shout out to George's Trophies, aka Sergeant M replica trophies. Guys, Father's Day coming up soon. This is the perfect gift. Matter of fact, this is the perfect gift for any occasion. I mean, who wouldn't want a replica Super Bowl trophy of their team? The team that got the ultimate prize, the Lombardi Trophy. So when you get a chance, go to his Facebook page, George's Trophies, aka Sergeant M's replica trophies. Now, we gonna do the damn thing.
Is this thing on?
It's your boy Stefan, aka Sneaky.
Yeah. Lyrical assassin.
Let's go, Giants! Ow! What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Stefan, aka Sneaky G. I have a treat for you today. Obviously, no, it's not the Isaiah Simmons trade, but we're gonna get to that in a little bit. I've been bothering this guy to coming on the show for some time now, and he finally got the $5 bill. Okay, he finally got his payment. His people talked to my people. We were negotiating back and forth. And Chris, I see you in the backstage, but I'm gonna ask you to pause for 1 second, Dallas Cowboy Chris, because I have today one half of Talking Giants, the man, the myth, the legend, Justin. Justin P, what's up, man?
Man, what a day.
Right?
What a time to be a New York Football Giant fan.
And Joe Shane, we trust. Hashtag. Hashtag. Let me tell you something. First off, thank you so much for coming on to the show. I know it was a long negotiation period. $5 was steep, but it was well paid for. I'm sure that'll get you half of those hot dogs you ate at
trip to the Candlewick Diner too. We'll also do as well.
Right. And again, thank you for rocking the merch. Thank you. Let me tell you, Justin, when shout out Ruben, right? Yes. When he tweeted that, and it was great to see him too, back in November, a couple years back for the first time. When he tweeted that, the response, I was at work, I didn't see it, and then I saw his tweet, and I'm like, no way, are you? And it was funny because I was just talking to somebody about not going to training camp this year,
right?
Because of timing, scheduling, it is what it is, and it hurt a little bit, but the fact that I was there in spirit, it made my day. I got to tell you, it made my day.
No, we've been friends for a couple years now, and that's
Yeah.
honestly like one of the best parts of doing this, and living part of our lives on social media is that we not only get to meet people that it's like, okay, well, we're Giants fans, but you get to meet people that you can like consider and you call friends. So
Yes.
I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful for everything that you do as well. You're incredibly entertaining. You're the epitome of like what I think like all of us fans should be. Like you're swagged out to the T. And you're rocking and rolling, doing it all from Texas too, which is pretty
Dallas.
sweet. So
Dallas. Yes. Yes.
yeah, so thank you for having me on. I'm really excited to be here.
Well, I tell you what, let's get in it because you're right. This friendship started while we were in the mess of things. Okay. This
Yes.
was I want to say, wasn't it Shermer? Pat Shermer, I think
I feel
was.
like 2019 makes sense.
Yes. Yes. So now we're on the flip side of this. We've been to the playoffs. We got a playoff win. You know what? Let's back up real quick. Let's start over from the draft and kind of work our way down. What was your thought of the New York Football Giants and the approach they took on this year's draft?
Well, it kind of just fell into their lap perfectly of what they wanted, because the first three guys that they took in this year's draft, all of them were at one point speculated or talked about being picked at 25. And
Mhm.
instead they get them, three guys all within like the top 100 that were speculated of going in the first or second round. And even like, dude, the Bears trade up and they get Tyreek Stevenson, but at the time they trade up, we're like, crap, the Bears just jumped us for a reason, and everybody and their mother knows that we're going to draft John Michael Schmitz, and they take
Right.
Tyreek Stevenson. So it's like, I don't know why they jumped on us. Also, we're never going to have a draft ever again. That reminds me of, because we all knew that we were going to take JMS. We also all knew that we were going to take Deontay Banks. No, excuse me, that we were going to take Jalen Hyatt in the third
Yeah.
round.
Yep.
We will never, ever have a draft ever again where we know, like for a fact, like if you're somewhat tuned into Giants football and you're tuned into the draft, you knew in the second round they were going JMS. And then in the third round, you're literally like, oh my God, they're definitely going Jalen Hyatt in the third round. Like we will never have that again, where even there were times like last year where we had two top 10 picks, the fourth pick in the 2020 draft, the sixth pick in the 2019 draft, where the option of guys is so like it's limited, because this is the fourth pick. There's not a lot to really choose from here, because
Right.
it's all the top guys. The fact that we knew exactly where they were going to go in round 2 and round 3 this year is crazy. So it fell into their lap, and obviously JMS is an interior lineman. He's an athletic interior lineman, but this offseason was just all about speed. They got speed, athleticism. You even saw it with Simmons today too.
Mhm.
This is a team that is getting more athletic. They're getting faster. They're becoming a modern NFL team, which is obviously something that I feel like a lot of fans have been screaming and wanting for a couple years now, and it's really fun to see.
I never asked you this. I don't think we ever had this conversation, because I know every time I see you, it's like we're tailgating, eating, and having a good time,
Catching up, really.
Yeah, it's basically giant fellowship, if you will. And I want to ask you this: were you always, or were you ever, or were not? I'm going to put you on the spot here, okay? Team Daniel Jones.
When we drafted him, I wasn't taking as much pride in like the work that I do in 2019 as opposed to what I do now. But
Mhm.
if you go back and like you listen to that Bleeding Blue episode that I did in 2019, I was ready for a different quarterback. I loved Eli Manning.
Mhm.
Eli Manning is the reason why I am a 2-time Super Bowl champion. I take pride in those Super Bowls too.
As
I
you
consider
should.
myself
As
a
you
Super Bowl champion. But Eli, he's the reason why. But at the time, I was just very ready for a change at quarterback. I felt like it was just needed. So I was very open and willing for Daniel Jones to come in here and do what he's got to do. So I didn't necessarily rip him from the get-go or anything like that. But I was really excited after 2019 too, knowing that they had the worst left tackle in the NFL in Nate Solder, and kind
Yes.
of that's when I started to look at data, and I was like, well, how much are these turnovers actually impacting him? How many of these turnovers are fumbles versus interceptions? How many of these turnovers were actually caused by Nate Solder? So even at the end of 2019, I was like, explosive plays, Daniel Jones, not a very good team, not a very good offensive line. Pat Shermer kind of unlocked something, but he was fired, and then they brought in new coaching. I was like, I'm kind of ready to rock and roll. So there was never a point where I really felt really low on Daniel Jones. Really, the main skepticism that I had over the years is just him being available. Really,
Yeah,
because
right.
the quarterback play, even though it's never been perfect, and a lot of it did have to do with coaching. Jason Garrett is a guy from very early on that Bobby and I were very anti Jason Garrett and get this guy out of here as fast
Right.
as possible.
Mhm.
And I'm glad we were right about that. That's one of like our best takes, is being really mad at Jason Garrett from the get-go. But really, there came a point where we get to November, we get to December, and sometimes the offense is catching momentum and we want to see more of Daniel Jones. And there came a point where he wasn't available, and that
Right.
sucked. So
Right.
it was a really great sign last year that he battled through that ankle injury after Chicago and after Green Bay, and he was going through a little something. Played all those 16 games, sat out that 17th game like the rest of the starters did, and they won 9 games, made the playoffs, won a playoff game, and here we are. He's the guy for the foreseeable future.
And for me, in the beginning, when they selected Daniel Jones, I was an Eli guy. Okay. I go way back from Phil Simms, Jeff Hostetler, Danny Cannell, Kent Graham, and going back. Oh, see, you're getting some love. Sorry, Facebook. For some reason, Facebook does not want to tell me who you are. So if you
Anonymous.
can, jump on Twitch or YouTube. I love talking Giants as well. I love it. You guys are so, and I want to get to the analytical part of what you and Bobby does, but it's Des. Oh, Desmond.
Hi, Desmond.
What's going? We're actually twins. He's my brother from another mother. We look exactly alike. But so I was a fan of Eli, and I loved what John Mara said about Eli. We want him to perform well, so he doesn't come off the field. I'm summarizing. He didn't say in those exact words.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
but they were fans of Eli. They wanted him to be on the field, and it didn't turn out that way. Okay, so then we had to turn the page, and you're right. I was okay with Jones kind of taking over, and maybe not so much in an analytical way as you and Bobby did of finding out, how big plays impact the games, like turnovers and what caused those turnovers. Evan Ingram, okay, 6 of those intercepts. Anyway, I knew that our line was subpar. I knew Nate Soldiers was just there to get a check. And it was, I was sold on Judge. Okay, when he first came in, I was ready to rock and roll.
We all were.
Yes, I did not appreciate the Jason Garrett hire. I knew it wasn't going to work. Okay, but me always seeing the glass half full, in my mind, I'm thinking, wouldn't it be great if we won our 5th Super Bowl with him being the offensive coordinator? Now, obviously it didn't happen. Did I really think it was going to happen? No. But I, in my mind, that was just a good, because I hate the Dallas Cowboys. So I don't, and I'm gonna, okay, and I'll hold your answer because I'm going to ask you. I'm going everywhere because I'm excited that you're here today. I'm going to ask you, who's the team you hate the most in our division. So just keep that in your pocket. But anyway, I understood that Daniel Jones was under the circumstances that he was in because of the lack of an offensive line. Because of we didn't have any receivers. All we had was we had Tate. Who else? Who else was on the receiving? I can't even.
Shep was there, but not consistently healthy. Darius Slayton. I mean, here's the thing. This could even transition us from, those Giants, the 2019 Giants, to kind of even transitioning to us right now, and why this year is so exciting, because Darius Slayton, we started every single year, maybe besides 2020, but we started every single year saying Darius Slayton at worst is our wide receiver 3 because we have this guy and we have that guy. And because of injuries or because of guys just not performing well, Darius Slayton, this 5th round pick, who was a 5th round pick for a reason and even had some drop problems at Auburn and didn't really have him his rookie year. And they kind of came up in the years since. Darius Slayton has been the most reliable, and he's been the number 1 wide receiver for Daniel Jones throughout the entirety of his rookie contract. Even led the team in receiving yards last year. I'm pretty sure there was maybe 1 year throughout Daniel Jones's rookie contract where Darius Slayton did not lead the team in receiving yards. It might have even been the Kenny Golladay year, his first year here. Bobby Skinner, he always has that stuff on the top of his head. But that the point stands is that Darius Slayton, 2019 5th round pick, has been the most reliable target and the most consistent target for Daniel Jones throughout his NFL career so far. And every Giants fan understands. They appreciate Darius Slayton, but I think we all understand that Darius Slayton is not a number 1 wide receiver. Yet that is what the team and management hasn't supported Jones in the proper way, where that's the situation they've kind of put him in.
And the thing is, again, John Mara takes accountability for that.
Oh, yeah.
He said in the state of the Giants, reporter asked the question, how can the fans, this is pre Joe Shane, by the way. Yeah. How can the fans trust you? And he straight up said, I have given them no reason to trust me.
Yeah. We've done everything that we could to screw up this kid, is basically what he said.
Yeah. And then, that's what he said about the fan base, because, after the retirement of Gettleman, he was going to slow the process down, in which I was okay with either Poles or Shane. Now, obviously, Shane, of course, I mean, I think I don't follow the Bears as much, and I may be a little biased, but I just feel that Shane just has an edge. I don't want to say analytically.
But here's where really Shane, I think, has the number one. The Bears have done some funky things, yes. Especially one of the funkier being, giving up a 2nd round pick for Chase Claypool last year. Getting DJ Moore was absolutely awesome, and I think that's largely due to circumstance that they had what was, I think, it was the number 1 pick in the draft that they eventually did give up. But what Joe Shane has, and what Joe Shane was able to do, that is not talked a lot about GMs, and even as people are trying to give Dave Gettleman his flowers, what is lost of a GM's responsibility is not just drafting and signing players, but it's also hiring a head coach. And Joe Shane bringing in Brian Dable assembling his staff, and also Joe Shane being so in sync with Brian Dable, Joe Shane being so in sync with what the offense needs, with what Wink Martindale needs, with what these positional coaches need, and knowing what the positional coaches are able to unlock out of players. Andre Patterson, one of the best defensive line coaches in the league. Jerome Henderson, I think the best DB coach in the National Football League as well. Him just having an understanding and such, chemistry and understanding what these coaches need is what has set the edge, and is the difference between what Joe Shane and Brian Dable are able to do together compared to, I would say, outside of a few exceptions across the National Football League, what other teams are doing. They have such a good connection together.
And not only that, it's the people that's around Shane that's giving him all the information. Brandon Brown, the assistant GM, I think, and the people surrounding him as well, just how quickly they can, not only, they can scout players, bring them in for them to fit their needs, for the coaches to develop them to be stars on the field. I saw an interesting, and I want to talk about the trade with Isaiah Simmons, kind of a great segue, because like you said, we're getting a 1st round pick for a 7th round, basically.
Yeah.
And we're getting a pro that's already established in the National Football League. Okay. There was, if I'm not mistaken, there was a stat where he played
It was like I can't remember. It was like 30. Was it 33% coverage? No, it was 33% linebacker. He played some safety and also some defensive tackle. I mean well, here we go right here. I think a hybrid linebacker or just a versatile athlete that he's going to bring to the defense.
Yeah, and I have those stats if you want.
Oh, please, yes, please.
So Isaiah Simmons, his snap counts the last 2 years. 2022, he had 897 snaps, 46% at slot corner, which is really interesting. 45% in the box / D line, and then 6% at free safety. 2021, very different. 1,086 snaps, 15% at slot corner, 76% in the box / D line. So 2021, he was an interior linebacker. And then he had 2% at wide corner. So the thing with Simmons, really wild that they lined him out at slot corner last year, and that like he played 900 snaps as a slot corner. And the first game that I watched today was from 2022, and then I went to 2021 because I think for the Giants he's going to be an interior linebacker. But 2022, I watched the Viking game, the Cardinals versus Vikings, and first 4 snaps of the game, he's like following Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson. And I'm like, this 6'4", 240-pound linebacker. He is a linebacker. This 6'4", 240-pound linebacker. The Cardinals are trusting him to follow Now, he didn't do a great job following Justin Jefferson. Not a lot of people do a good job following Justin Jefferson. He allowed some catches. But still, like the fact that the Cardinals coaching staff is like, yeah, we feel that's in your repertoire. We feel like that's in your bag of tricks is crazy. And then 2021, he was, like I said, he was mostly an interior linebacker. And that's where I think he's going to play for the Giants. And you wouldn't maybe know it, but this is a guy over the last 2 years that's played close to 1,000 snaps. 2021, he did play over 1,000 snaps. Last year, I said it was 897. I don't think he's going to start for the Giants. He's not going to be a guy that's going to get 1,000 snaps, and that's fine. That is fine. I'm really excited about the potential of Isaiah Simmons being a weapon, being a versatile guy that Wink Martindale can use and put out there, and there'll be one play where he's, and again, linebacker. I'm talking about a linebacker, and you can do multiple things with this Isaiah Simmons linebacker prototype, and even think like Tony Jefferson. Remember Landon Collins last year?
Yes.
That's where I think this role is going to be for Isaiah Simmons, where you can put him out in man coverage against a tight end. And I think he'll be physical. He'll be strong. Like man coverage is one of his best traits as well. You can put him on the edge because he did that at college. And, he looks, or, he's looked good in the NFL as a pass rusher. And something that's even boggled my mind a little bit, we knew coming out of college that he was a good pass rusher, and you can line him up in multiple areas and you can ask him to blitz and he's going to be effective. He's had almost 2,300 snaps in the NFL in his NFL career so far. Only 239 of those snaps have been pass rush snaps, which I think the rate at which he's going to go after the quarterback this year, I think that's going to go up. You can put him in the A-gap. You can put him on the edge. You can put him back as an interior linebacker. You can put him out in man coverage versus somebody and bring him in on a blitz. You can ask him to drop back in coverage, and he'll look somewhat comfortable there. So this is a guy that we can use in a lot of different ways. I even think right now that Micah McFadden is a better linebacker than he is, but Isaiah Simmons is a better football player than Micah McFadden.
Makes sense.
If you get the difference there.
Yeah. And apparently the man runs a 4.3 40.
He has a 40-yard dash that is faster than Saquon Barkley. And like our pod that's coming out, I'm just putting the finishing touches as soon as I get off here. I'm gonna put the audio out tonight, and then obviously our YouTube videos come out at 8 a.m. Our podcasts do. And my opening point at the top is, remember the 2020 draft where we were going back and forth on Wirfs, Thomas, Simmons. Do we do this? Do we do that? Do we draft this guy? After he ran that 4.3 40 at the combine in 2020, we were talking, or not, was it 20? They did have the combine in 2020 because that was pre-COVID, right? Yeah. So we were talking at the combine. It's like, this is an athlete that we've never seen before. We have never seen an athlete at the linebacker position that's faster than running backs, that's faster than receivers, who can, run so well, move so well, so athletic, and, can also play that, play whatever spot you maybe need to. So at the end of the day, there still is a reason why the Cardinals gave up a 7th-round pick for him. Because one of the issues in the NFL is his issue in the NFL is that he can never find a stable position. There was one, 2021 played interior linebacker and then such a dramatic position switch to slot corner. You don't see that. This is a guy that's had trouble finding a stable spot in the NFL. And at the end of the day, that is the reason why the Cardinals were okay with, taking a 7th-round pick from the Giants, and that was it.
Before we go on, I'm going to bring one of my good friends on. His name is, he's been waiting patiently in the back. Big Blue Ant.
What's going on, man?
What's going on, Ant? Justin, Ant.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So real quick. I was just thinking about having Thibodeau and Simmons lining up on the edge.
Yeah.
How disgusting is that?
Thibodeau. How about this? Thibodeau and Ojulari on the edge. Put Simmons in the A gap. You have Okereke. I mean, just think about that. And I'm salivating at this.
Right.
Where, you got Wink Martindale showing the cover zero look where everybody's on the line. And you don't know if they're going to drop back. You don't know if they're all going to come in. And it's a nightmare for quarterbacks, especially for quarterbacks that are young and that are inexperienced. Like, think of Sam Howell when he sees this the first time is going to shit his pants, because you're going to have, let's just go left to right. You're going to have Kayvon, you're going to have Leo, you're going to have Dex, you're going to have 2 interior linebackers, Okereke and Simmons, stuffing up those A gaps. Then you're going to have Ojulari on the other side, and that's a solid 6-7 guys that are lining up on the line of scrimmage, and you don't know if all of them are going to come. You don't know if somebody's going to drop back. You don't know what's coming at you. And that is super fun and super exciting.
So Danny says, our defense is going to be nasty. Dak better, and I'm glad he brought up Dak. Now, I asked you a few minutes before, who is the one team in our division that you hate? Obviously, for me, it's Dallas. I hate Dallas. I can't stand Dallas. I loathe them entirely. Who is the one team for you in our division?
It's Dallas.
Okay, thank you.
Now, I was at Miracle in the Meadowlands too. I was there.
Oh, my God.
And I never questioned the meaning and the purpose of life more than after that game, walking out of that game. We're thinking you have the range of emotions of, and this is pre-2011 Super Bowl, by the way.
Right.
So, I had one Super Bowl, and I'm like, oh, maybe I can get another taste. And, we're going to win the division. This is great. This team that everybody loves and everybody liked, Vic and all the Eagles, blah, blah, blah. We were going to do it, and we were going to rise above. And then, no. So I even say Dallas, even suffering through that game, I just remember more times of just Tony Romo getting that ball back with, and he always seemed to choke when it wasn't against the Giants. Getting that ball back with the minute and a half, 45 seconds, didn't matter if they had timeouts or not. And I would be sitting in the stands being like, he's going to go down the field and they're going to kick a 42-yard field goal and they're going to win this game and we're going to say sayonara, and that all that excitement's going to be it. So for me, it is definitely the Cowboys. Like, I have more negative feelings towards them.
I want to bring in this one. Well, his team's different, by the way.
So I'm shaking his head.
For me, after the Miracle Meadowlands 2, I couldn't watch ESPN that whole week. I refused to watch Sports Center. I didn't even turn it on until Friday. Now, I don't think if that didn't, I'm telling myself this.
I know where you're going with this.
If that didn't happen, I don't think we would have won 2011.
Act 1, Scene 1 of the script.
Yes.
Is of the 2011-2012 Super Bowl run is that game. Yes.
By far. The mantra, finish.
Yep.
Finish. I just, Ant, go ahead. I already know the answer, but what is your team that you hate?
Philly. I can't stand Philly. I live in the Philly area, and it's disgusting. These people are disgusting.
So, Justin,
Even the friends I have from the area are disgusting.
so Ant, I'm going to apologize in advance. This might cover you. So, Ant knows what I'm about to do. Every time a new Philly fan comes on, I always show him this picture.
Oh, that's just.
I always and I always tell him that is not a chocolate donut.
No, I know.
That is not a chocolate donut.
That meatball parm that I had for dinner's coming up.
I know you kind of it's coming up again, ain't it? So when Ant said perfect timing, Ant, when you said they're disgusting, Exhibit A, Your Honor.
There you go.
Exhibit A.
When you're talking about Philly sports, like I don't mind Phillies fans.
I'm gonna bring Gabe on too, real
I don't
quick.
mind, Sixers fans, but when you get to the nitty gritty and the worst of the worst fans in any sport, it's Flyers fans and Eagles fans, hands down.
So, Gabe, who's your nemesis in the NFC East?
Hey there, Gabe.
What's up, Justin? How you doing?
I'm good. Who's your
That's good.
nemesis?
That's good. Who's the worst? Probably
In our division.
I live in Eagles country, so it's pretty bad. Like if the Giants lose, I hear it from them, and then when the Eagles lose, they're really quiet, and it's terrible. It's really
And
terrible.
we got Louis said I agree. It's Philly now.
Yeah,
Hold on a sec. He did say the Cowboys, but the Eagles are getting on my last nerve. So one thing I want to emphasize, and Gabe, I'm glad you came on. I missed you Tuesday because I wasn't going to call you out Tuesday, but I'm gonna wait. I wanted to wait.
Tuesday?
Huh?
What was on Tuesday?
Well, nothing. I mean, we were just talking about the game, pretty much. Carolina. Oh,
Yeah.
Justin, that reminds me. What was your thought? Okay, wait. I'm like I said, I'm everywhere because again, I'm excited that you're here with us, Justin. What was your thought of Daniel Jones's contract?
Him firing his agent was the best decision that he ever made in his life because Joe Shane has been able to really get, the Andrew Thomas deal was fair. The Dexter Lawrence deal was pretty fair. But at the end of the day, those are like, you look at those deals, it's like, well, AT's getting less money than Laramie Tunsil and Dexter Lawrence is getting like the same amount of money as Jeffrey Simmons. That's a win. If those guys did deserve to reset their respective markets, and they didn't. Daniel Jones and his contract set a new precedent for quarterbacks in his tier, which is like that slightly below like Dak and Kirk and even those guys, even Ryan Tannehill, when he got his money, he had some winning seasons under his belt, and Daniel Jones has only had one winning season. So he kind of reset the market for QBs in his tier. And good for him because with CAA, and before he fired the first sets of agents, it was like, they were telling him, you're not worth what you're asking for, bro. And he's like, all right, goodbye. I'll fire you and bring in some people who will get on my side. And they did. And he did it at like the final, with like 2 weeks left for the deadline. But at the same time, it still is friendly because unless it's like a straight up disaster, he's going to be here for a little bit, and they can get out of it if it is a straight up disaster, I believe, like after year 2. So next year's cap hit's going to be interesting because it's like a $40 million cap hit. So depending on the results of this year, are the Giants going to push money back into further years, or are they going to eat and survive that $40 million cap hit and still try and build a team around Jones? So hopefully we're good enough this year where we're like, okay, Daniel Jones continues to take steps up. Maybe we win 1 or 2 more games, even with a harder schedule. And then we can maybe even extend Jones by a year, push some of that money back so we have more money to spend next year.
So for me, the standard or the metric system that we talked about, and Gabe, I'm going to get back what I wanted to tell you Tuesday here in a second.
I think you're going with, but yeah, keep going. Yeah.
Say what? You got to go?
No, I think I know where you're going, what you're going to say.
Oh, okay, good. You might, but anyway, for me, the gauge for the Giants is this. I'm sick and tired of losing to the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm tired of it. Right now, I don't even want to split it. I want to sweep them. And now, will that happen? Nobody knows. We'll find out this year. But at this point, we cannot continue to have these losing streaks against these divisional foes.
Yeah.
Because, I remember years ago, I had Howard Cross on one of my shows. I think it was Truce back in the day. Shout out, guys. Howard Cross explained it. He said, we beat each other up in the division to get a better position in the playoffs. And then of course, in the mid 80s to the early 90s, it was all NFC East. Okay. And then once we beat each other up, when we played against the 49ers or the Buccaneers or the Falcons, it was easy. I don't want to say easy, but it was maybe, I don't want to say less competitive, but it seemed more of a winnable game when you're going against your own people in the division. It's time that we make that step. It has to be this year. And I truly believe this year is going to be a different year. We are beating the Dallas Cowboys in AT&T Stadium this year.
I need week one.
Week one too.
I need. So I went to Nashville last year, and if you see
that's right. That's right. Yes, yeah.
The pin tweet that I have is, I went that entire game because Giants did not play a good game. Like they had Saquon Barkley had an explosive play that led him to the goal line. I believe there were 3 touchdowns the Giants scored that game. And I think all 3 of them two of them were on the backs of Saquon Barkley explosive plays. And then you had the Chris Myrick touchdown. And then you had the Sterling Shepard.
I'm going to say,
and then you had the Sterling Shepard touchdown. So all of them came on the backs of explosive plays. Shout out myself for, wow, that's really egotistical. Shout out myself for, really
no judgment here. No judgment.
Prioritizing explosive plays since 2020 and being like, the Giants need to do this more because it's important for offense. So I spent a lot of money on that trip. I spent more money on that trip than I was comfortable with spending. And I'm thinking to myself, holy shit, we're going to go through another season and it may be bad. And I can't believe that I'm here. I can't believe that I traveled all this way to see this team lose. And then they missed that field goal and I lost it. And my line that I like to think it's somewhat of an iconic line. I did not come here to lose. I am not going to week 1 MetLife Stadium. I don't have to travel as far and I don't have to spend as much money. I'm not going to week 1 to MetLife Stadium to lose. Like I'm going into that day like I'm going to war.
Yes, of course.
Me.
And you're kind of quiet tonight. What's up?
No, I'm just taking it all in. I'm just, our GM, got away with another robbery today, and just ecstatic. I'm quietly happy because what happens from here out is going to be a shit show for the rest of the NFC.
Right.
I think the biggest thing, because I want to go back to Isaiah Simmons for a second.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I think the biggest thing is I still don't believe the Cardinals got the full potential of Isaiah Simmons. And I think that's exactly what Wink Martindale's going to do with this kid.
Facts.
I mean, this kid, if I had to compare him to who I think he's going to be like, I'm looking at Hassan Reddick.
Oh, wow.
He's going to be that type of player. And Reddick was a beast last year.
Yeah, he was.
I hate saying it because he's on Philly, but.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how many snaps he gets.
I don't mean to cut you off, but I think that's for you.
Yeah.
Because she saw your tweet, by the way. That's New York Giant Barbie, NYG Barbie, by the way.
Oh yeah, absolutely. How's it going? How's it going? Yeah, but I think it'll be interesting to see how many snaps he gets at edge because that's the one position. Interior linebacker to slot corner, and then they were experimenting with him at safety this preseason. That's the one position that the Cardinals actually didn't try him at is edge rusher. And
Well, it's
you
funny
know,
because when the announcements were made, I didn't quite hear because obviously Adam Schefter came up with it first. You know, he let everybody know, but a lot of media outlets were reporting Isaiah Simmons as a safety. Giants traded for safety from Arizona. It's like, you know, and again with Wink Martindale and the way he switches these guys around and moves them around constantly, like anybody on this team can be, you know, play just about any position.
right?
So I want to talk about Isaiah Hodgins real quick.
Mm.
Okay. Yeah, Gabe. I see that smirk. I see that smirk. Okay. I'm high on him, by the way.
Justin, this is a complete shot at me. Just you wait.
Oh, it is. It's a complete shot at it.
Because he had one preseason catch. And
Hold on. Don't interrupt me now. Hold on. Let me get let me get this out, and then you can counter. So I'm high. I've been high on Hodges last year because I love a good story. I love a good diamond in the rough. Okay, and Hodges is that guy, right? And of course, I didn't go to any of the training camps, so I didn't see what he was doing and what he was not doing. And Gabe let it be known that he is not having a good camp. And he even used a clip from Talking Giants of you guys talking about
really
how Isaiah Hodgins was not performing, right?
He kicked it up in Detroit, though. Just so
He did. However, and also, Dable even, you know, and what I want to say is, and yeah, this is a dig at. I'm calling Gabe out on this one is because Dable actually gave him props, and he was saying that you know, Hodges is doing well, and you know he's coming into himself now this year. And what I didn't, and Gabe, we're not gonna rehash the whole dumbing down the offense last year. We're not gonna talk about that. But I do want to. I mean, are you familiar? Do you know, by any chance, Justin, how difficult this Dable system is?
Oh yeah, I mean with the whole option routes and you know Hodgins is like the epitome of smart, tough, dependable, and like what they're looking for because he came in immediately because you know he knew the system from Buffalo. He came in immediately and was like Hodgins came in and finally the reliance to just run Saquon Barkley into the ground on first and second down wasn't there anymore because you can start to throw the ball on early downs and not air it down the field. That's not what Hodgins was there for. He was there to get open in the intermediate part of the field so the Giants can sustain and keep on schedule an offense. And, you know, it's amazing what 6, 5, 7 yards will do on first down versus 2 to 3 yards if you're just running your running back over and over again and teams know it's coming. It's amazing what being effective on first down can do for your football team and how it could, you know, lead to, you know, 7 points and, you know, avoiding third down is so important as well. So Hodgins really did that last year. And it's so in terms of Hodgins and some of our, you know, camp reports, and I guess this is the downside of us being behind camera so much and giving daily practice reports and things like that. So I eventually came to the point of after seeing Isaiah Hodgins in Detroit against the Lions and then seeing him this past weekend against the Panthers, I am full on like Isaiah Hodgins is a game receiver. I don't think he's a practice receiver. I think he's a guy that, again, knows how to get open. And I think that you're going to see that develop most in game where the other team doesn't necessarily know what play you're running versus the defense that you line up against every day. They kind of know the plays that are coming and you can get kind of in the routine of, oh, I know what you're going to be running here. I know the personnel. I know the down and distance. So I think Hodgins is going to benefit from being an in-game wide receiver. But what is going against him, and this is what I won't really back down from our practice reports, is he's not a tremendous athlete. And he needs to, and if he's not a tremendous athlete, he needs to win more in contested catch situations. And I don't know if he hasn't shown through camp that he's going to win in those contested situations. And really, it's the athleticism that shines the most in practice. Because again, if the corners are kind of knowing the tendencies, it's how are you going to use your speed? How are you going to use your route running to get open? And Hodgins just isn't the best athlete in the world. And that's okay, because he's a dude that knows how to get open. And that is extremely, extremely valuable for in-game situations.
I thought he did really well last year.
He did.
I mean, after his fumble against Detroit, he was a completely different, I would say, athlete, even football player, if you will. And I thought he had some contested catches throughout the season last year. Now, granted, I don't know what he's done in camp. But it's going to be interesting on what he's going to be able to do in year 2. Now, let me throw this little curveball at you. Do you think Beasley is going to make the team?
Yeah, I think he will.
Yeah.
And it gets the wide receiver room is a very complicated conversation right now. There's not a single one that provides special teams value. You can say Bryce Ford Wheaton is going to make the team, but then somebody's going to have to go, because then there's 7 wide receivers when you include Beasley and Shep and you include Wandale. I think even if you include one, that's 7. So then Bryce Ford Wheaton would be 8 wide. That is a lot of wide receivers to carry. Even 7's a lot. They did carry 7 wide receivers heading into Tennessee last year, and they carried that. So I'm not saying, they have to have 6. I think they are going to carry 7. 8 is a lot. So I know people are talking about Bryce Ford Wheaton on special teams. I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm a special teams expert and I watch it and I break it down. So I can't say that Bryce Ford Wheaton is the special teams expert, but I know a lot of the media and the coaches, I guess, are talking about it. But I think Beasley, Shep, Wandale, they're all going to be on there. What they probably will do with either Shep or Beasley, they probably will initially cut them, but then bring them back. Like they do that with Casey Kreider every year. For numbers purposes, they'll cut veterans. There's like a phrase, like something with veterans. They'll cut them with the understanding that we're going to sign you back. Don't worry. Other teams can't claim them because they're veterans. So we're going to cut you. Once we make all of our IR moves and our pup moves or whatever, we'll bring you back. So even if Shep or Beasley is cut right away, I'm not being like, oh, okay, they're done, sayonara. I do think that both of them will make the team and they'll be back.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at the wide receiver room right now. You got Isaiah Hodges, Hyatt, Colin Johnson, Bryce Ford Wheaton, and then you have Campbell, Beasley, Crowder, Mickens, and you have Pimpleton. Of course, then you got Slayton, Shep, and Sills.
I feel like we're missing someone.
I had 7. I had 7 there. Out of important guys.
Hyatt. Do we say Hyatt?
I did say Hyatt. Yeah.
Okay, then
I
Hyatt
said
is
after
correct.
what do you call it? After Hodgins.
Yeah.
If Shep gets cut and people say this was coming, I am literally gonna run through a brick wall.
Yeah, that's the thing where I love Shep. I love Shep. Shep's been the best wide. He hasn't been the most consistent and reliable because it's been Darius Slayton. But Shep has been the best receiver that Daniel Jones has thrown to in his career, and they have the best connection. Where I think like Hodgins took over Sterling Shepard's role last year. Short average depth of target, high catch rate, move the chains guy. Hodgins even showed, nice, very good red zone awareness on how to get open and where to get open. And I think that would have been Sterling Shepard's role last year. But Sterling Shepard on this team, like, what is his role as a back? Because he's not starting. He's as of right now. And, I'm knocking on wood with injuries because we've been very fortunate and lucky with the lack of injuries. And that's been the biggest X factor this summer, by the way. Is like last summer and previous years, everybody just drops like flies and they never get to practice with each other. This year, they're actually practicing and they're getting better with each other, which is really important. But what is Shep's role as a backup receiver on this team where there are no receivers that provide special teams value, and there's just a lot of other guys that are there and they have clear roles. Like his role is very muddy right now, and that's like what I'm really wondering. And I didn't think that he would be a lock for the roster, but according to the media, he is a lock for.
Well,
the roster.
the Bleach Report. Well, the Bleach Report said that the Giants should trade him. And my question is, what value are we going to get from him?
Nothing.
Yeah,
Nothing.
I don't think so.
The other thing is like in camp, it hasn't seemed like he's really competing for a role because they've given him so many rest days and so many like they're giving him vet rest days. It's not like he's going out there competing for a role every day, which is like kind of like they're kind of like giving him a roster spot almost, it seems like to me. Which is kind of strange, but maybe they do put him on. I mean, I don't know if you can really put a guy like Sterling Shepard on special teams just because of his injury.
No, you can't.
Mean, you just can't.
I still say the value is there if you consider the fact that, again, he may be the odd man out here. So this is where the value comes in. If they already know he's the odd man out, number one, they will put him up for trade. And the value will be that, okay, we knew we didn't need him. However, we could get a pick or something out of this. So there is some value.
I just don't.
Again, everybody's holding on to the emotion. And don't get me wrong, I love Shep too. But everybody's holding on to the emotion of how big he's been for the team in general. When he is healthy, even when he's not healthy, how big of a role he has with this team. The problem is, especially with all the receivers we have now, and again, if he's the odd man out, the best thing to do is trade him.
I like the only thing I can see us getting for him, if anything, is like some kind of pick with like clauses in it. Like if he plays this amount of snaps, if he plays this, amount of games stuff, like I could see that if anything, but I just don't know who would want, he's been injured a lot. So I just don't know who would want to trade and then roster spot.
What'd you say, Ant?
Nothing. I'm being an ass right now. I said Jerry Jones.
Jerry Jones, yeah. Oh my God, that would hurt.
All his players are heading to jail in the next couple of weeks.
Oh yeah, and okay, I'm glad you brought that up.
He said, well, at least he only went. What did he say? At least he only went.
He's maturing. He's maturing. That's what he said.
No, he also used the word. If you listen to the interview, he said he's maturing.
Maturing. Yes, he's maturing. Yes, you're right.
My favorite part of that, there is no, that's nothing funny about it, but I guess my favorite part of that quote that people left out when they're like in their summaries of it, he said the line, "We'll get it down," like he's talking about his weight. Like, oh yeah,
he said it twice too.
He's 290. He's 290. We'll get him down to 270. We're talking about him driving. It's like that's like we'll get it down. I couldn't believe. I'm like, this is not I thought it was like a Wes Steinberg thing.
No, didn't he say like, well, last time he was going 96, this time he was only going 80 or something? Didn't he?
And I think he realized when he started to say it because he brought back the line of, hear me, like he kind of brought out the line of like, all right, like hear me out here. And I think he knew he was trending into dangerous waters. We'll get it down. The speed of him driving a vehicle, not his weight, not his attendance to practice. No, how you drive a vehicle in your free time.
Sam Williams is Sneaky's boy, though. That's Sneaky's boy.
Can I tell you something?
Go ahead.
I have never been more right about a draft pick. Bobby and I were on the 2021 Edge draft preview, and we talked about him, and we're like, this is really good players. Probably got too much baggage for Joe Shane since he's such a high character guy. And we were like, this guy is going to be a Dallas Cowboy. We said it on the pod in
serious?
The beginning of April, because I think like edge rusher is like one of those positions that we always lead off with. The beginning of April, we said on that preview pod, Sam Williams, you are a Dallas Cowboy. And then we celebrated. We never celebrated a Cowboys pick more when we were on stream because we were like, we were right. Yes.
I met
he's a really good player though.
I met Sam Williams a couple months back, they had a sports con here. Basically, just take the word sports out of it because it was a con. It was the biggest ripoff.
Hey, you met Sam Williams though.
I paid, yeah, well, yeah, hold on. Yeah, whatever. So I paid VIP tickets. It was 100 and something. I paid $260 for 2 days of just bullshit. Anyway, I had to vent. I had to get it off my chest. But out of those 2 days, yes, I did meet Sam Williams and Nazi, go blue. He's a Wolverine. Oh, and he did get his conference ring, by the way. And I always ask him about that.
Yes.
I did make a bet with Sam Williams that when the Giants beat the Dallas Cowboys in AT&T Stadium, he has to wear a Giants hat for a week. We're not going to worry about me, okay? But when the news came out, when the news broke about what happened, my phone was blowing up.
Oh, I can.
Isn't this your guy? Isn't this? Ain't this guy? You bet. What about the hat? Is it? I said, oh no, the bet is still on. I don't care where he's at. The bet is still on. And
what if the hat flew out the window while he was going 130 miles an
hour? Gotta buy a new one.
You better get a new one. Justin,
borrow one. He's got to borrow one.
I want to ask you, and you might have already answered this earlier today, and I do want to throw this out there. Casey mentioned this. Hodgins is her guy. Okay, that's her favorite player, and she was also giving you credit. What you said, basically your analysis about him being a game guy, not a player.
All right. I have a question. No, Justin, is Hodgins the wide receiver one or is Slayton the wide receiver? Like out of wide receivers, not including Darren Waller, Slayton or Hodgins wide receiver one?
I think Slayton is going to lead the team in receiving yards for wide receivers, and I think Paris Campbell has a better shot in leading them in catches. So, however you define wide receiver one, whether it's catches and yards, there you go.
Who cares? They win games.
Right. Well, and so to talk about Slayton real quick, I noticed he's kind of morphed his game into being more of a I'm sorry, let me back up. He developed his wide receiver skills, his hand skills better. He's attacking the ball more with his hands than catching it with his body. And I think that's going to be the difference maker because that drop he had in Minnesota, I think that did something to him mentally. Not to where that he was going to continue having his drops, but to where he realized that there was something he had to fix. And I haven't posted it yet, but I did a video of the transformation of when Slayton first got in the league and then how he's catching the ball now and how he's attacking the ball, forming that web to catching it better. And I think that's going to develop and show more on the field. And the thing that I think with Slayton and the fact that he's only on a 1-year deal. I'm sorry, 2-year deal.
They can get out of it after one if they really want to. That's the thing.
Right. I think he wants to stay a Giant. I really do. And it shows. And I'm really, the way that he caught that deep ball in the start of camp, you can see how much he wants it. And
for sure.
I'm excited to see what he's going to be doing on the field because, of course, you got the new guy, you got Hyatt, the new, flashy, glamour, brand new toy. And then you still have the old toy here. It's like, wait, I'm still here. I still want to produce and put points on the board. So,
Campbell as well. Paris Campbell as well. That's pretty good.
Now, who is your favorite Giant of all time?
Besides Eli. Yeah, let's just say besides Eli.
Okay. All right.
Osi Umenyiora.
Okay.
Yeah. I gave him the nickname as a 12-year-old the season that he had I think 10 forced fumbles. He had 10 forced fumbles and 12 and a half sacks which is an insane rate. I think that might be still be an NFL record for most forced fumbles in a single season. I gave him the nickname the Stripper as a 12-year-old in the stands of MetLife Stadium.
The stripper.
The Stripper. And that's what I would call him, because that he just had a knack for it kind of all throughout his career, but particularly that 2010. And a lot of those guys, even Tuck, as that second Super Bowl run got a little bit closer, their legs kind of wore off a little bit. Tuck started to get hurt. OC was in the midst of having some contract troubles and calling Jerry Reese a liar towards the end part of his Giant career. So that 2010 season was quite unbelievable. And that 2007 season, it's Tuck and Strahan that get really talked about, but I think OC was like the best pass rusher on that 2007 team if you look at like total like pressures and hits and everything like that. So OC doesn't get talked about enough, and I really love him. I think out of all the Giants, especially on the defensive side of the ball, from like those two Super Bowl teams, I think if you put OC Umenyiora in today's game, where it's all about speed, it's all about hitting the quarterback and getting those sacks and QB hits and getting pressures, OC Umenyiora would be the most successful player, and he would transition best into like today's game.
Strahan, he continues to tell the story the morning of that Super Bowl while they're eating breakfast. OC said to Strahan, if we don't get to Tom Brady, we're not going to be successful.
Yeah.
And Strahan kind of blew him off. He said, I blew him off. He said, no, listen to me. If we don't get to him, it's going to be a long day. And Strahan said to this day that set the tone for his game that day.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. I think OC doesn't get mentioned too much. You know who doesn't really get mentioned too much? Prince Nakamura.
It's Amukamara.
Amukamara. Well, I'd say tomato. You say tomato.
It was close. You were close.
I tried. I tear up names like it's nothing.
I'm actually proud that you got Isaiah Hodgins' name right today.
Well, it's because of Gabe. He like texted me or snapped me a voice.
I know because listen, last time you didn't know a name was Judge, and he ended up getting fired. We can't have Isaiah Hodgins getting fired.
That's exactly what you said.
Hey, Juju.
Where was I going with this? Oh yeah. See, now you gotta call me out, Casey. Now you gotta call me out. Look, I'm starting to. I called her Kelsey, but yeah, it's better now. Where was I going with this?
Prince Amukamara.
Yes,
he retired.
He retired today. Quietly. I didn't even. I mean, of course, I got the notice. New York Giant notice, and he had a small ceremony, and he signed a 1-day contract with the Giants to end his career as a Giant. And, congrats to him.
Yes. He had his 2013 to 2015 run was pretty good. I'm even just looking at it now where only one season where he played 16 games. That was like I guess like the biggest issue with Prince is that he didn't play games. 8 games in 2014, he had 11 pass deflections. 11 games in 2015, he had 10, which is pretty good for all that, right? And then 2013, the only year in his career where he played 16 games, had 13 pass deflections with an interception. So congratulations. 4 tackles for loss, which is pretty good for a corner. Congratulations to Prince Amukamara. I believe he is a Super Bowl champion. Yes, he is with the New York Giants.
2011. Yep.
What was his first game? What did he do his first game? Anybody remember? His first ever game with the Giants. He was hurt, drafted from Nebraska, first round, missed a lot of time. His first ever game. Give me the opponent and then give me the team. And what did he do?
I'm not going to cheat.
I want to make sure that I'm right.
I want to say the opponent was Dallas.
I want to make sure that I'm right.
I am
right.
I don't know. That's a good question. That's a good trivia question.
Yeah.
I'm going to say he had a pick 6.
He did not have a pick 6, but you're close.
Okay. Then it got to be like a fumble recovery for a touchdown or something.
He had an interception. It was against Vince Young
Oh wow.
Okay.
and the Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh, the Dream Team.
Yes.
The dream team. Oh my God.
We actually lost that game 17-10,
Rip.
but Prince Amukamar's first game as a Giant, he comes in, gets that interception, and everybody's going crazy. Yes, the guy, we were mad that he missed all the games, but then it's like, yes, he had an interception in his first game. This guy's going to be a stud.
Yeah.
So we were happy about that.
Kind of like how Beckham, when he came back and he had that 3-finger catch.
Yes, for sure.
Now, about that, great catch. Awesome. To me, I think the helmet catch was more dynamic. I mean, especially when you have, Henderson all over you. Was it Harrison?
Harrison.
Yes. Yes. I'm on a roll.
Mhm.
But anyway, I love the catch with Beckham, but I hate the fact that we lost the game.
Oh, yeah.
A buddy of mine actually got me a framed picture actually in the living room where I sit, where I do most of my TikToks. It's right there. And a lot of Cowboy fans, they'll say, "Did you win that game?" I'm like, "Yeah, shut up."
That's 2014, 2015 in a nutshell. Like fun offense, fun Odell, and just defense not being able to close it out, which stinks.
Yeah.
Nah.
But hopefully this year it's going to be a different tune.
I still can't believe Odell got $15 million with the Ravens. I still can't believe that. It's crazy.
I don't want to talk.
Bless him, man.
So, Justin, I got to ask you this.
I don't want to talk about
I don't want to talk about it.
What is have you done your prediction yet for this year?
10-7. I kind of want to go 11-6 and get crazy, but I'm sticking with 10-7.
Don't ask Sneaky. Although
yeah, don't even waste your time.
So I don't put negative juju out there. I always say we're going 17-0, but I don't bet on that because I know that's not going to happen.
That's smart.
Right. Gabe,
Last team that didn't really end up too good for them. So
they didn't. Gabe, what do you think our win loss will be this year?
10-7 or 9-8, either one. Good one.
And
I'm gonna agree with Justin. I'm gonna say 10-7, possibly 11-6.
the team is better than last year. I know the schedule's harder.
And you know my thing. I love the fact that we have the third hardest schedule in the league. I love that. And if we could have the hardest schedule in the league every year, I would love it because your schedule and the way you play determines how dominant you are. And I think the Giants could be a very dominant team. And to have the third hardest or third toughest schedule in the league this year, for the Giants to come out and win 10, 11 games, that's saying a lot.
I could honestly, me personally, seriously, I'm looking at the schedule right now. Starting the season off.
Oh, okay.
4-0.
I thought you said we were gonna go 17-0, and I was like, no.
No, I'm only gonna go the first 4 games.
Okay.
Right. Dallas at home, Arizona 49ers away, and then Seahawks at home.
49ers is hard. 49 really hard. That's gonna.
I'm still baffled by the fact that was it 5 of their first 7 games are prime time?
Yeah.
So what happens when
great.
Yeah, because it's actually Dallas. That's a prime time game.
That's the Sunday night game, right?
Yep. And then you got 49ers. That's the Thursday night. I'm not is Buffalo? No, Buffalo's the Sunday night game.
Yep.
we play Seattle Monday night?
That's right. Yep,
That's
Seattle
correct.
Monday night. Yeah. So we go from 49ers Thursday night to following week. Oh, here we go. I got another Giants fan living out in Texas, 12-5.
I'll take it.
That's not bad.
Yeah, I'll take 12-5. I'll be all right with that. I'll live.
And
I got a home playoff game probably.
that would be ideal.
I'd be
Oh my
okay if we went
God.
9. Was it 9 and 8, and then snuck in the back door to the wild card and run it all the way through the playoffs and win a Super Bowl? I'm okay with that too.
So out of the first 4 games, the Niners is the tough one.
Dallas and San Fran are tough.
Yeah.
Dallas and what they do, and they had I'm going to say something. They had a sneaky good offseason. Getting Mozzie
They
Smith.
all do, and then it doesn't translate to the field.
Right. Well, I mean December it won't translate to the field. That's when it starts to not translate.
Right.
But I mean September through November. I mean, we'll November, end of November. Can the Dallas Cowboys make a run? It just every year, it doesn't matter what coach. It's crazy. But I mean, week 1 and the areas in which the Giants kind of struggled last year with interior offensive line. Well, they drafted Mozzie Smith, so they got stronger there. Edge rusher. They kept the continuity of DeMarcus Lawrence had like 3 sacks, 5 sacks against the Giants when Evan Neal was struggling. At MetLife last year.
God, please that happen again.
That'll be different for sure.
And even they added Stephon Gilmore, so they added another corner with Diggs, who you could say Diggs allows a lot of yards and stuff like that, but they added another corner. They added Brandon Cooks. Their tight ends are another year of formidable guys. I like Jake Ferguson when he was coming out of Wisconsin. So what I'm really pissed about is they don't have Tyler Smith at left tackle because Kayvon Thibodeau dog walked Tyler Smith on Thanksgiving. He had like 5 QB hits and he absolutely took over that game. People talk about that Washington game, by the way, that gets them most excited about Kayvon. They had the strip sack fumble and it was great. But that Dallas game, he took over on Thanksgiving. Took over.
Yeah.
And I'm really mad that they're not running Tyler Smith back out there at left tackle because I really like that. I would have really liked that for week 1. And especially with their receivers out there. You're going to have Gallup, Lamb's going to primarily be in the slot, and you're going to have Brandon Cooks. They're really going to test if the Giants are going to run out there with Deonte Banks and Trey Hawkins on the outside.
Oh,
Those
God.
are 2 rookies that are starting on the outside. And you're going to have Adoree Jackson going up at CD Lamb in the slot. That's going to be a really big test to kick off the season. But like I said, I'm going there to win week 1. I'm not losing that game.
You think Adoree will follow like CD Lamb no matter slot or outside?
I hope, but then you have the question of Deonte Banks and Trey Hawkins haven't taken anything in the slot so far this summer. So who will be in the slot at that point? So I honestly think that they are just going to run with that lineup of those 3. And it's not because I do think that those 3 guys are their 3 best corners right now. But if the Giants had a functioning slot cornerback with the pulse on this team right now, then I guarantee you Trey Hawkins would be the first guy off the bench. Even with him having a really good camp, he would be the first guy off the bench. You would have Jackson on the outside. You would have Banks on the outside starting. And then either Flott or Holmes, if either of them took control of that job, they would be starting in the slot. But none of them have, and they've looked really bad. So that's why they have to run these guys out.
I hope Holmes. I don't know what it is about Holmes and the Dallas Cowboys because wherever he's at, that's where they're throwing the ball at.
Yeah.
Well, I read something today that Holmes may be on his way out the door.
I think we should trade him. I think we should trade him to the Raiders. They'll bite. He was good with Patrick Graham. Patrick Graham's the defensive coordinator over there, and that
would be ideal.
Now I want to just call out Wes and said that I feel like we sweeping the Cowgirls this season. Boys, mark it down. I'm with you on that. And then, of course, you got Dallas Cowboy Chris toast.
I already wrote it down.
You wrote it down? Okay. Yeah.
I think Darnay Holmes is just better in his zone system than a man-to-man wing mark. Yeah. I think that's really what it came down to, and I think that that's why I think a trade to the Raiders may be something to see. Also, Shane needs some more draft cap. In my opinion, he needs to pick up some draft capital somewhere. Because he likes to move around, and to move around, you need to have draft capital in other places. So,
I'll tell you what: if the Giants make the playoffs again this year, we could pretty much guarantee that Casco won't be back.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Which honestly, I love Mike Kafka.
Mhm.
If Mike Kafka is back next year, then that means the Giants did not have as good of a season as we want them to. So in a way, I'm
Right.
not rooting for Kafka to leave, but if he is back, it's like, well, then 2023 wasn't as fun as we wanted it to
Yeah,
be.
exactly.
Now that being said, what about Wink?
I think Wink's
I
going to stay.
I
Yeah.
think he's going
He's
to
going to
stay.
retire with the Giants.
I thought the Colts and I feel like Jim Irsay and Wink Martindale are somewhat like very similar people.
Mhm.
Where they're like, hey, brother, like I feel like they're just in a room together with some scotch and just like really can go
dip.
crazy.
Some dip.
So I feel like the fact that he didn't get that job, I felt like that was, I'm never gonna say never, but I feel like that Indianapolis job kind of had his name written all over it, and he didn't get it. So the kind of older defensive coordinator, where he's had plenty of opportunities to get head coaching jobs in the past, including the Giants in 2020. They interviewed him,
Well,
and he hasn't gotten it.
yeah, I think
I
think
a Giant.
but Kafka is gonna be gone after this year, probably. Do you think that the Shea Tierney, the QB coach, is next up for OC, or do you think we'll like do a broader search?
I would hope that we would do a broader search because it worked well the last time when we thought that it was just going to be Ken Dorsey. And I was excited about it. I was even excited about Ken Dorsey coming over here because he was an up and coming. He was a guy that Joe Judge was looking into, and I heard that through like a backdoor channel. That Judge wanted Dable, and that was widely reported. Like Judge wanted Brian Dable to be offensive coordinator, but the Bills blocked that because it would be a lateral move. But Judge was looking into Ken Dorsey, and then obviously they kept Jason Garrett, and Jason Garrett was forced upon Joe Judge by John Mara. I would like them to do a broader search because it worked well when they did it with Kafka, and Kafka was kind of unexpected that, Mike Kafka and Brian Dable have never worked together before. And that's usually what you see. NFL head coaches will hire their friends, and they'll hire
Right,
people that
right.
they've worked with in the past. And Brian Dable did not do that. And that's
But,
what
like-
kind of makes Brian Dable awesome, is that he was willing to adjust and just get the best people in here, and he'll work with them.
If we went with someone like Shea Tierney, though, then it would be a whole new. Well, I guess would it be like Dable teaches the offensive coordinator then his system again? Like,
Yeah, I mean, it still is. This is still Brian Dable's offense, and that's the
Yeah.
benefit of having an offensive coach. I do think Mike Kafka has really added some fun things to this offense, and I don't think that impact should be ignored. But at the end of the day, this is still Brian Dable's language. This is Brian, this is Brian Dable's playbook, and it, like, I think is just saying language is the best thing. Like the terminology and that kind of stuff won't be changing, so which is good.
So we got a good question from KC, not Kelsey.
Oh,
KC.
out of here after this year.
Let's see. What are y'all thoughts on Brandon Brown? I like the guy. We talked about it a little bit. Do you think he'll go somewhere next season or in a couple of seasons? A lot of people liked his interview.
I think there's a reason he wanted to be here, and he wanted to be here.
He came from the Eagles.
Right. I think Brandon Brown is definitely going to be a GM in the league. The only way I think he leaves the Giants is if he's offered a GM position. I don't see that happening yet, but a few years down the line, I could see it. I definitely could see it.
I think if
Go
it
ahead,
goes
Gabe, I'm sorry.
well this year, then I think he'll get a lot of attention interview wise. Now, if he bags a job, I don't know, but interview wise, I think he'll get a lot of attention.
So what I didn't know, because of his position, he is responsible, or one of his duties is to talk to the media twice a year, and that was one of his interviews. So I think he does one at the beginning of the year, and then he does like a follow up in March, or not March. Was it June? I think last year he spoke to the media. I think.
Yeah, I'm not sure the timing of it, but they kind of did that because there's good assistant GMs out there that maybe aren't getting attention, and also, getting attention, number one, but also number two, just getting these guys used to the media. if they want to get GM's jobs, which is, and you could tell that the first time that Brandon Brown did speak to the media, he was pretty uncomfortable. And then these last couple times that he has spoken to the media, he's really been insightful. He's really been honest, and it's been really cool. So he didn't get any interviews this past offseason. So we'll see this offseason if he gets more interviews and how many GM opening. Usually you'll have some off seasons where you'll have like maybe 5 GM openings, and maybe some off seasons where there'll be like 2. So
I think
yeah,
I think we get a comp pick for him too.
yeah. That's also part of it too, because the Chiefs got it when Ryan Poles went over to the Bears and stuff like that. So,
and Kafka, if Kafka left, do we get a comp pick for that too?
I don't know. I don't know how. I don't know.
Not if
how-
it was a
how that
promotion.
works.
Not if it's a head coach job. I don't think so. But I don't know.
I don't know.
I wonder how much, with him being the assistant GM, I wonder how much does he deflect from Shane himself? I don't want to say deflect. I mean, how much information funnels through him to Shane?
A lot.
Yeah, a lot.
Right.
Lot.
Right. I mean, and what, if at any does he filter some of that stuff, out before he lets, brings it to Shane's attention to take action for. And I'm really curious on how this trade happened. I was watching something and they're saying that, if I'm not mistaken, was it FanDuel, that they're saying that the Arizona Cardinals are basically picked not to win a game this season. So my question is, I mean, are they dumping their commodities to build up their draft stock?
I mean, they just traded away a bunch of people today. Like literally, they traded for like Josh Dobbs, I think, the quarterback. They traded for Josh Dobbs. They traded away their tackle. They traded away and then they trade away who we got, Isaiah Simmons. So
Well, they're trying to make sure they have enough money in the next couple of years to make sure Kyler Murray gets paid for doing nothing.
Well, they just want to make sure that they have enough money to buy the new Call of Duty for Kyler Murray.
And they also traded a bunch of times in the draft this year. So do you want to hear how many draft picks they have next year, which is crazy?
How many draft picks?
So they have 2 first-round picks, one their own, one from the Texans.
Mm-hmm.
They have 1 pick in round 2. They have 3 picks in round 3. They have 1 pick in round 4, 3 picks in round 5, and now they have a 7th round pick from the Giants. And that is, this is updated as of today. So they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 picks in next year's draft, plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 picks in the top 100.
we had 11 picks one year. When did we have 11 picks? This past
That
year?
was 2021.
Yeah.
Joe Shane's first year.
Wes is saying that
No, 22.
they're
I'm
tanking
sorry.
for Caleb.
Yeah, I think so too. I do think so. I don't know how you get rid of Kyler though. I mean, you gave him that big. I don't know the outs of it though, so I can't say. But that would be interesting to see what Kyler Murray where he would go. What
He'd end up. I guarantee he'd still be in the league, but he'd end up with a backup spot.
What's Cliff Kingsbury doing nowadays? Is he up at USC? I think he is, right?
Oh, that's a good question.
It's like
Hey, Sneaky, I got to get going, brother.
All right, brother. Hey, man, you have a good night.
You too, man.
Let me hear it one time, man.
Justin, nice meeting you. Gabe, be easy, brother. Love you, man. Peace. Let's go, Giants.
Ow!
I appreciate you, fam. I appreciate you. Wes said, put him in a baby stroller and send him off. I think we'll go ahead and kind of close out the show. Ended a little early tonight. But Gabe, before I do that, give me your final thoughts.
I'm psyched for the season. I think a lot of it's going to depend on health. Hopefully, everyone stays healthy. Waller specifically.
Hold on, let me bring on.
Yo,
What's up, man?
I don't know why my camera's not working, but
So, Justin, just so you know, this is Javin, but AKA WTF, Washington, the fan. That's you know. How is Washington the team? He's Washington the fan. Anyway, he's been on the show a bunch of times. He's a huge Commanders fan. living out in Chicago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's one of the OGs, kind of like Gabe is. Right?
I guess you could say that.
Sam
on.
Howell, we're feeling great, huh?
Oh my god, the hype is ridiculous.
The hype is crazy. I'm just so anxious. I'm ready. I just hope he can play well.
So, Justin, you can't see him, but you're hearing him, right? Now hear this.
Washington man, what's up, man?
Love, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing? Thanks for joining
I'm
the
good.
Sneaky G Man podcast. What's up?
That was the first time he came on.
Wow.
That was episode 3.
And so many games won for both of our teams since. Wow.
Yes.
Yes. I can't say too much about us, but
Well, no, I'm even talking about us too.
I know.
We won 9 games last year, and we're acting like we won the Super Bowl. Which, hey,
Actually, it wasn't. That wasn't the year that. That was the year that y'all won the division.
Was that 2020?
Was it
oh
the
my
next-
god, well, 2020 was such a crazy
Yeah.
crazy year.
Yeah.
We were playing meaning football in November and December,
with like 6 wins.
and we were still 6-10.
And
You
I
know.
ran a lap for Joe Judge too.
So what?
I ran a lap for Joe Judge after.
We all
that
did.
team. Yep. Dustin did too. Bobby did, and everyone gets on Bobby for that. It's so funny because he gets so mad about it.
It's like don't act like you were not excited for Joe Judge after 2000. You
I know.
cannot act.
Oh,
Nobody can
yeah.
act like it.
I do.
Hey,
actually,
whatever he was selling, I bought it. I would run his press conference. I wanted to run through a wall for that man. Point me in the direction, coach. I'm going. Wow. Now let me ask you this, Justin.
Yes.
When we all were sold. Okay, we bought what he was selling, right? When were you done with him? What did it for you?
When it took him almost 2 years to fire Jason Garrett.
Okay.
don't we blame?
He got fired mid-season, though, I think.
He did, but by then it was too little too late. Jason Garrett needed to be fired after that Falcon game in 2021. After they almost scored 30 points versus Washington, which that game hurts.
Yes.
That was
that quarterback sneak, like what?
Dexter Lawrence jumping, doing having the offside. The kicker missed the kick, and then they get to redo it, and then they win the game.
Now I remember that.
I think the Giants scored like 29 points that game, and we were so close to that 30-point marker that we didn't cross since Washington 2019, the Andrew Thomas Bowl, aka the Chase Young Bowl. That was the last time the Giants scored 30 points before they scored 30 points against the Colts last year. I understand, even if like Joe Judge, Jason Garrett was forced on Joe Judge, and we knew that. It is still Joe Judge's staff, and it was his responsibility to fix the offense, and the offense was just putrid. The offense was absolutely putrid for 2 years in a row, and you can't have that in the NFL. So
Joe Judge lost me, really lost me. I was getting lost, and then he really, really lost me when he did that Chicago press conference. When that 11-minute rant, that was completely. I mean, I don't even remember what the question was that started that. I think it was like about golf club, or I don't know.
If I'm not going to say who told me this. That is what got him fired.
Yeah, that was the beginning. That was the beginning of the end for sure. Because really, what it turned to is between that and then between the QB sneak is.
Oh my God.
The Giants went from a local embarrassment to a national embarrassment. And that's what John Mara couldn't deal with. John Mara, I guess, could deal with the internal pressure of New York of losing. And it's like, well, I'll just believe in our way of doing things, and I'll believe in my people. But then they went from a local embarrassment to the national embarrassment. And then that's what did Joe Judge in, really. So
I remember when and why It was a Monday night game. It was against Tampa.
Oh my
And
God!
we
was-
looked pathetic.
That was Jason Garrett's last game.
That and
Wait,
that,
what
yes.
year? 2020 or 2021?
2021. It was
Yeah, he looked pathetic in both
2021.
years.
And because I actually went to that Philly game because that was the weekend after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And we won that game. I mean, but it was more of a defensive game. It was more.
Yeah.
And
Jason and Daniel Jones apparently broke his neck on the first play and played through the entire game.
Yeah, played for the whole game. Yeah.
Bizarre.
And that was actually Jones's last game, and that's when we switched from oh my God, I forgot
Garrett
his name.
to I don't even know if he was the play caller because Joe Judge never admitted it. But who was like the off coordinator?
Kitchens.
After
It was
Garrett? Freddie Kitchens. There you go.
Yeah, Freddie Kitchens. No, Mike Glennon.
Oh, yeah.
Mike Glennon.
And
That
Jake
man,
Fromm.
I don't even know
Hey,
how
Washington legend.
I don't even know how he got a job.
Can I tell you something though? This is what fans this is what fans don't fully contextualize with old Mike. Yeah, Mike Glennon was bad. Jake Fromm was bad. Mike Glennon was, and maybe I don't know where Mike Glennon is now. Maybe he's not anymore. Mike Glennon it was one of the best backup QBs in the NFL. But guess what a backup QB is? A bad quarterback. A backup QB is still a bad quarterback.
I like Tyrod.
When you combine Mike Glennon in an offensive line that is so bad that Will Hernandez got worse in his NFL career, Billy Price, Matt Scora, Nate Solder, the corpse of Nate Solder, who openly admitted to not working out the season after he opted out. When you combine all those things, and then you put Mike Glennon in there with Kenny Galladay, no Kadarius Toney, I don't even know who David Sills was a starter at the end of 2021.
That's just embarrassing. It was embarrassing. It was
with
really
a bad offensive scheme as well. That is why Mike Glennon looked bad.
Casey, I saw you in the backstage. Please join the backstage, and I'll bring you in real quick if you want.
All right, Sneaky, I gotta head out for the night.
All right, Gabe.
It was good being here, yo.
Appreciate you coming on.
Great year, Justin. It was great seeing you at training camp.
It's always great seeing you.
It's always it's a pleasure. It's always
It was a nice surprise. I wasn't expecting to see you tonight.
Nice hat, by the way. I always want to get one of those white hats. I like those.
This I actually got when I was in the lovely town of East Rutherford, New Jersey, at the American Dream Mall that's soon going to close because they can't pay their bills.
Wait, are you serious?
Sort of. They don't pay their bills. They're like trillions of dollars in debt. I got it at, what is it called? Lids, I think it's called Lids in the American. And it was a nice hat, and it was my birthday gift, so it was pretty nice.
Okay. Yeah, I picked up a couple. Danny knows. He was there with me when I got a couple. No, I'm sorry. I got it at the Plaza up in Jersey.
Oh.
When I bring Danny on, he'll remind me what the name of that plaza is. Gabe, have a good night, brother. Let me hear it one time.
Let's go Giants. Ow.
Have a good one, brother. I'm gonna bring up. Hold on. I'm gonna bring WTF.
Yo.
Give me your final thoughts, man. What's your word on Sam Howell and how y'all defeated the undefeated preseason Baltimore Ravens?
Huge.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. I was watching that game, and I was watching with my dad, and he didn't care that much. But I was so invested. I was so invested into the game. I don't think
Want to have a full circle moment? Who led the game-winning drive a couple days ago?
For us.
Yeah,
From
Jake Fromm.
Jake Fromm.
Giants legend, 2021.
All-time leading rusher in quarterback sneaks, right?
Yeah. In our own goal line. Yeah.
Yes.
I will say this: when I was watching the game, I looked at Jake Fromm and I was like, I remember that name from somewhere, and then I was like, oh, he must. And then they said he was a Giant, and I was like, there you go.
You know what? I will say. Enjoy the joy the man and the player that Nick Gates is.
Yes.
He is a very good dude. We were close with him when he was here. He was our guy. He's going to play with fire. I mean, you saw that he absolutely decked that corner.
Yeah.
When one of your guys was going in for a touchdown, that's the fire that he's going to bring. Hey, you may call it dirty, but you know what? That's what you want your offensive lineman to do.
Right.
As long as the whistle's not blown, he's putting people on the ground. He's playing nasty. We called him Nasty Nick Gates. So enjoy Nick Gates. While I love Ricky Stromberg too. While Ricky Stromberg is developing behind him.
All right. And one more question for Justin. Do you do social media?
I do.
Does
I
he
do.
do social media?
I'm on Twitter. My handle is on the screen right now. That's there's not a lot of Justin Pennicks in the world, so I was lucky to take Justin Pennick that handle on Instagram and Twitter, and I do a show called Talking Giants. I don't know if you ever heard of John Boy Media. They do a lot of baseball stuff. I work for them.
Oh wow.
And he is phenomenal. Phenomenal. Him and Bobby Skinner. I mean, I rip a lot of their stuff off. I'm not gonna lie. Just don't share it. I just keep it for myself.
There you
They
go.
do great stuff. All right, WTF.
Thank you for having me on.
Of course, brother. Hey, you be good. Don't forget to do the shimmy when you hit a 3.
I got to.
Let
Season
me hear
starting
one
up soon. So let's go Giants. Oh.
I appreciate you. You feel the pain? Did you feel the pain in that?
Yeah, the ow sounded like an actual ow.
He was like, ow.
Ow.
Okay, so I got to I'm gonna bring on Danny and
what up?
Danny
New
King.
York Giants Barbie.
Hello.
What's going on?
What's up?
Danny all got high. Danny was like, hey.
I know, right?
Let's forget about them two. What's going on, baby?
And Danny, when we're going the cameras.
Yeah, right.
So, Danny, what mall were we at when I bought those hats?
Oh, it was at Jersey Gardens. Jersey Gardens.
Okay, yeah. And yeah, he was hanging out with Mama Boss and myself, and
it was a good
every
time.
time I see you with that ring on, I'm like, I know you got that, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So real quick, I mean, I'm glad you guys came on because I was about to end the show, but I'm glad I did it.
It's my bedtime.
I'm glad it's been past my bedtime.
Really?
So, anytime
I just got in from work, so you know.
But see, for me, like I'm old, right? If I'm in bed by 7:30, that's a win for me. That is a win.
7:30. That's a little pushing it. Let's.
It'll still be light outside, and I'm like night. I'm going night. Real quick. Okay, Danny's back. Good deal.
So technical difficulty. Sorry.
G Barbie, you got any questions for Justin? Matter of fact, I'm going to call you out. She is a huge fan of you guys.
Oh yeah,
you are calling me out. That's quite literally. Yeah, you're calling me out. No, I literally just live for your guys' updates, especially during camp and everything. You guys just tweet. I'm like, I always know that there's going to be tweets of something, so I make it a point to look, but it's always in my news feed anyway, so I don't even have to go search for it.
And I do have an alert on Twitter with you guys. You and license plate guys. Shout out Joe. Because the information you guys provide us, and it's just freaking phenomenal. And I want to thank you guys. So, matter of fact, that being said, how much of an edge on your seat you were with Barkley and the last day of his signing? What was that like for you? Because for me, it was like watching molasses go down the tree trunk.
Well, from a content perspective, we were on the edge of our seats just because it's like, well, when is this going to happen? So, it's like graphics, videos, go. Everything is like go. It's like this morning with the Isaiah Simmons trade. It's like, all right, well, let's crack our knuckles and get to work. But I wasn't, from a Giants fan perspective, I wasn't worried about it because I knew that he was going to be back. And the fact that he didn't even make the Giants sweat past report day, he shows up for the first practice. he didn't even make the Giants sweat past report day, because I do think the fan pressure, and he was already feeling it. He was checking social media. He was DMing people. I know that he was DMing people. So like, he felt the pressure of not being there, and I guess he couldn't even deal with it past report day. And he understands that, he takes his legacy very seriously, and that L word, and he wanted to be there, and he knew that, like, I wanted to be there for my team, and we're doing something special here. Like 2023 Giants is very different from 2020, 2019, all the years before that he's been here. Like, they won 9 games, they won a playoff game last year. There's something special that's happening here, and he wanted to be part of it, and he wanted to be part of it all.
I think with not only with Barkley, there was a little clip that Carl Banks mentioned. I don't know if they had a conversation.
It was convenient time. I'm going to say this. I know exactly what you're talking about. Whenever Carl Banks puts out a piece like that, it's always very convenient timing.
Right?
He put a little bit of a hit piece out on Tay Crowder, and then guess what? A couple days later, Tay Crowder was released and relieved of his duties from the New York Giants.
Yeah.
Whenever Carl Banks puts out something very firm like that, and Carl will tell you, "Oh, I don't, I'm not a talking head for the team, whatever like that." Sure. Whenever Carl really puts out something firm like that, it's very much for a reason.
And what Justin and myself are alluding to was Carl talked about his brand, Barkley's brand.
Yeah.
And I loved how he basically brought everything forward, like the full blow of everything. Look, you're not going to change the market by not playing. And if you don't play, it's not going to hurt the NFL. The games are still going to be scheduled. They're still going to start on time, with or without you. You're more valuable on the field than you are off the field. Now, of course, I'm summarizing. Okay, it's on my Instagram. Go watch it. And the next day, he signed the deal.
Yeah.
The next day, he signs the deal. I'm like,
convenient.
Ain't this not a bitch?
At that point,
What?
he technically signed the deal at like 7 a.m. because it was report day of camp, and you wake up and it was even an hour earlier for you, Stefan. Where it was probably like 6 a.m.
You know what? I was legitimately in the bathroom.
Didn't I text you, Sneaky? Because I was.
I think you did. I think you did. Not only did you text me, but while I was in the bathroom, my wife texted me.
I'm pretty sure I texted you. I woke up for work, and I think I literally couldn't believe it. Like, I got the NFL like notification on my phone from the app, and I literally had to go to Twitter to even see if it was real. I'm like, is this real?
And I was on cloud 9 going into work. I almost the thought of buying donuts for the office popped in my head.
Well,
I didn't do it because I have my own reasons, but I almost did it, and that's half the battle.
Sneaky, you know what you should do next time a Giant goes under contract negotiations, just go to the bathroom.
And just stay there, right? Just stay there until
just stay there. Lock the door.
Actually,
stay there.
So you guys got any questions for Justin?
Actually, yeah, I do. What did you think about the when Saquon had that interview? When he was
that Money Matters interview.
Yeah.
Dude,
I know it turns some people off. It turns some people off, but he was telling the truth though.
No. Like, I clipped a part of it out. I clipped a part of it out, and I was like, dude, like, a lot of people and a lot of athletes will say that they throw that legacy word around, and they throw out like, oh, I do it for the fans, and this is what I do it for. I don't do it for myself. I don't do it for the money, and all that jazz. And it's like, yeah, okay. Like, of course you do it for the money, because why wouldn't you? But I felt it when he said it, man. Like, he's legit, he's authentic, he's genuine. Now, obviously, and he was open and honest, being like, yeah, like at the end of the day, like, I am looking to get mine, but also the impact of fans and the impact of seeing 26 jerseys out there, the impact of knowing that if he has a really good performance in a game, and if that's somebody's first Giants game, that could like change their life, and it makes that person a Saquon Barkley fan for the rest of their life, and he throws that legacy word around, and it means something to him. It's not just a facade to him. So that's really what I took away from that Money Matters interview, is that like, dude, when he says it, he's like being real about it.
But and it really sucks because oh, go ahead, Sneaky.
Well, I'm sorry. So I had a conversation with Tiki a couple weeks ago, and we talked about this whole situation with Barkley. And if I was in his camp, I would have told him not to do any interviews. And if he did do interviews, the understanding was, we're not going to talk about the contract situation in public. Because for me as the fan, when he said he wants to be a Giant for life, okay, and then the deadline hit, nothing came into fruition, and then he tweets out, "It is what it is." In a sense, you're this is my point of view. In a sense, it's like you're now the villain. You don't want him to be, right? But you're like, but you said you want to be a Giants fan,
and that's why he couldn't. That's why he couldn't hold out. He couldn't deal with holding out. Like, his team probably told him, hold out. Like, that's your leverage of you not showing up to camp. And I knew that he was always going to show up to games. Like, in fact, actually, like our overall thoughts is that Saquon Barkley would probably be returning to camp maybe this time next week. After the preseason's done, and then after training camp closes, that's when Saquon Barkley would return, which is what I thought all along. But for that exact reason of what you said, of the dichotomy between not being happy with how the contract negotiations went, but also saying that I want to be a Giant for life, that's exactly why he could not hold out even one day.
And it was kind of funny how the contract situation, because of the fact that they could only pay him so much. I mean, it was like $11 million. And the incentives, like, will he even hit the? I mean, I don't understand.
They're called unlikely to be, unlikely to be received or unlikely to be hit for a reason, because they're more than what he did last year. And last year he had a great year.
I'm also somebody just popped in. Okay, I got to give him a shout out. It's Andrew. I'm gonna add him to the screen. It's the Two Goofball Podcasts. I'm sorry, the Two Giant Goofball Podcasts.
I was saying, we're giant goofballs, not just regular goofballs.
And we have a full panel. This is what I'm talking about. This is one big New York Giant family right here.
Everybody just got smaller.
Yeah, we did.
Out of the giant goofball, we all got smaller.
But Drew, I'm sure you know Justin.
Oh yeah,
Drew, Justin.
Big time listener to the show. Bobby actually came on my show once as a guest as well too. So
yeah,
and we're just talking about the whole Barkley situation, how that panned out, and also we did mention the trade for Simmons this year.
Oh, I don't think I was on at that time. I was going to say, what do you guys think of? I mean, linebacker, safety. I mean, I think he's going to have to be versatile. I know there's some people were saying he told the Cardinals where he didn't want to play linebacker, but I think, in Wink's defense, he's either going to have to play both, or I don't know what. I don't know if he's going to really have a choice necessarily.
What are you going to put him at, though? What are you going to put him at?
I mean, it's going to be linebacker or safety, right? But we need linebacker more, in my opinion. But I just think Wink isn't really going to be like, okay, cool, you don't have to play that. I think he's going to be like, if you want to play, this is what's going to happen. Yeah. I don't think they're going to have him at a set spot, though. I don't think he's going to be solely one. I think Wink might move him around. I think Wink will want him for blitzing and stuff. But I don't know. I don't know if you guys discussed that. I don't think I was like actually watching yet. But.
Well, I mean, because right now we're pretty set on Panook and McKinney.
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
safety and free safety.
Mhm. And next to Okereke, weren't we like? I mean, I guess there wasn't really a solid one yet,
I
and
was
that's
I was excited for the trade. I just when I saw it, I'm like, where is he gonna play? I was excited. I'm like, I actually wanted the guy when I wanted the Giants to draft him in 2020.
Yeah.
a lot of people are saying
A
that.
lot of people wanted
Yeah.
him.
Yeah, dude, that guy's a beast. That was
I'm
So
thinking
Justin, I don't think we really talked about where we thought he was going to go. I'm thinking edge or even linebacker. That's my thought.
I'm hoping.
That's
like,
what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I think he's gonna. I think he's gonna play linebacker
Right.
because that's the position
okay.
out of all the positions that are on this team.
Yeah.
Linebacker has the least amount of depth, and then I also think it's the least talented.
Mhm.
And Isaiah Simmons definitely adds in the depth category. I mean, he's a talented football player. I don't know if he's a talented linebacker, and that's going to have to be something that Wink Martindale and this coaching staff is going to really have to unlock. There's a reason why, number one, why the Cardinals were willing to give up, him for a 7th round pick. And then number two, why he's moved around in so many positions in the NFL so far, because he hasn't been able to find a home. And one of I don't consider myself like a football guy. Like, I can talk all right and I look at stuff all right, but one of my best like pre-draft takes about like a top 10 pick, usually everybody loves top 10 and first round picks. Everybody's going to be a stud. Everybody's going to be a baller when that's not the case. Like clearly Isaiah Simmons is number one. I was like, Isaiah Simmons kind of needs to find a position because at Clemson, he played safety, he played linebacker, he played this, he played that. It's like in the NFL, you kind of need to find a spot. And you kind of need to do well at it. It's not just about being a weapon. It's cool if you're a 4th round pick, if you're a 3rd round pick or day 3 pick, and you're versatile, you can move around, you're fun. But if you're talking about at the time the Giants were picking 4, a top 5 pick, you better be good at a spot. And he's had trouble establishing that. And you could say, well, the coaches didn't really give him a chance to establish that. They didn't really coach him up, and the Cardinals have been a train wreck, and that's fair. But certainly, I'm very excited about his potential to just be a weapon on this Giants team. I think Micah McFadden is a better linebacker right now than Isaiah Simmons is, but Isaiah Simmons is a much better football player. Whereas you can put him at edge, you can put him at linebacker, you can line him up man-to-man against tight ends, and he can be really physical. You can put him man-to-man against running backs, and again, he'll be really physical. He's fast. He can keep up with those guys and maybe do some of the things that Micah McFadden can't, especially in the athletic department. So I'm excited about him not being a 1,000-snap defensive player. He's going to come in certain packages, and he's going to be asked to be athletic. He's going to ask to rush the passer, and he's they're at least going to ask him to do the things that he's already pretty good at.
Drew, what do you think?
I'm very much a read between the lines kind of guy. I think what people say at the podium is not always 100% what they mean. Obviously, with the current Giant regime, they don't talk much at all at the podium. They just speak in circles, basically trying to give any information out, as they should. That's what they should do. Don't get me wrong. I ain't complaining. So I look at the fact that we brought Anthony Barr in for a visit. Now we trade and get Isaiah Simmons. This tells me that the Giants were not happy with the linebackers they had. And I think that's his home for that reason. My main thing is where I think is a positive in this whole situation is the Giants are very good about doing what Joe Judge said he would do, but they actually do in using the strengths of a player and not putting them in a position for their weaknesses.
Square pegs and round holes.
Exactly. Yes. So Isaiah Simmons is good in man coverage. He is absolute crap in zone. Cannot play zone coverage. And I think a lot of what it is, and we just talked about in our show here, and I want to word this very carefully because I don't want to come off like a jerk about it. I'm not saying he's stupid, but I think he's a high athletic, low football IQ player. I think he plays with athleticism and instincts as opposed to looking, watching, developing, see where to go. And I think there's a use for that, but you have to use that properly. And I think he's going to be a guy that's going to line up alongside Okereke at times. I think give it a week or two, McFadden will probably start the season as a starter. He'll probably take the spot from him eventually, unless Darian Beaver comes out to what I hope Beavers was going to be. But I think that's what will probably happen. And I think you'll see him primarily at linebacker. I think you'll see him come in as a edge rusher at times as well, because let's be honest, our edge room is not a very good depth there. When Tamon Fox is playing a legit key role potentially in your edge room, that's an issue. No offense to Fox. He's done beyond what I think a lot of us expected him to do in the NFL. But that's an issue. So I think he's a good spot there. But again, he has his strengths and weaknesses. If you want a speed rusher that's going to use the bend properly, I know nobody loves to talk about the bend and edge rushers. This is a bendy guy. This is a guy that seems to, like, you give him a 3-inch clearance, he's going to bend the right way and go right on through and zip on through and do it. If you need a power rush, you're in trouble. You have to use his strengths. You know, and I think one of the things that I think, again, reading between the lines here, let's look at what the Cardinals did today. It wasn't just the Isaiah Simmons move. They went ahead and traded for backup quarterback Joshua Dobbs. Gave up a 5th round pick to the Browns for him, and got a 7th and Dobbs back in return. What does that tell you? They thought more of Joshua Dobbs than Isaiah Simmons. They thought the value was greater for Dobbs than Simmons. You know, they traded Josh Jones to the Texans, gave up a 7th round pick in that as well, and got a 5th round back. Same thing. They thought more of Dobbs and Jones. They thought of Isaiah Simmons. I spent a lot of time today looking at what different Cardinals content creators were talking about with them. And basically the biggest frustration is they were tired of seeing him being on the wrong side of highlight for the other team. And the question now is going to be, is it because he wasn't used right, or is it because he wasn't that good? It's probably somewhere in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
I still believe that our coaching staff is going to develop him into what we want him to do. And I think in that aspect of it, you might be right. He may have great athlete, low football IQ. And I blame the coaching staff of the Arizona Cardinals for that. Because if you don't, I mean, that's the title of being a coach. You're coaching the players on what you want them to do. Justin, you guys had a great highlight reel of Simmons, how he watches the cues. And you were right. You talked about how he bends to get to the tackler and the rusher, or the make the rush, the tackle, the sack, whatnot. And he is an athlete. He is such of an athlete. And his first step is just killer. And the way he can slide off the blocker, the tight end or the guard or the tackle just to make the play. I think there's such of an upside to having him. And I think with this coaching staff, I think he's going to be in the right situation to be successful. And I think, I'm going to say that I'm going to call out the Cardinals. I'm going to say they did a disservice because it's their fault that they couldn't find him a home, or they couldn't make him better than what he displayed to be in Arizona. I think he's going to be a steal for us, and I'm excited. I was on the Isaiah train when we draft, but during that draft season as well. And the fact that we got him now, a few years later, when I saw the trade, I was stoked. I was stoked with the opportunity.
Even D-Hop tweeted out it was a steal.
And then deleted the tweet to avoid getting in trouble.
Did he really tweet that? Or some Giants profiles, I don't know who they are, but I swear will like edit and post stuff, and I'm like, I don't even know if I believe this because some of it's not even real. And I'm like, I was like, but I don't even know who tweeted that, to be honest. So I'm not saying that that person tweets fake stuff. I'm saying in general, I've seen like people, edit stuff to make it look like people said this and said that. Yep. And I'm like, I'm not going to be gullible all this time. But anyway, I think
the best source for Giants knowledge is Wesley Steinberg. That's the guy I'd recommend everybody would listen to and see what he says. He's definitely on point with everything he says.
Can't make it up.
I think it's Bobby Skinner and Justin Pennick. I think those are the
two goats. The two goats right there.
I know to look. And when anything happens with Javarius Owens, I know Bobby's tweeting. Like, I already know, because the amount of times he'll talk about him and stuff, whenever, like, during the game, I knew it. And he tweeted I'm like, that's it. I already know. Like, I already know.
He's gonna make the 53, and he's gonna He's going to make a play this year. I don't know when.
I believe
I don't
it.
know how, but he's going to make a play this year. He'll be the last guy in the safety depth chart, but he'll somehow make his way in there, and I'm telling you, it's going to happen.
Bless
Bless
you.
Give me, yeah, I got the hit on the side.
And side note, I don't know where I saw this as well or who posted or saw this, but I also saw with Simmons that his stats as a linebacker was better than safety. I don't know if any of you guys saw it, but I saw that on
I
somewhere.
think I saw this too, and I think
I
Justin.
think that was on ESPN, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. And Justin kind of
Probably.
brushed over it a little bit too over the snap count. I think it was
Yeah.
like, because I know what you're talking about. It was like 60% linebacker, 33%,
30%. Yeah, I saw that on NFL Live.
corner,
That was on NFL Live.
safety, and then
Yeah.
it was like 3% defensive tackle.
Yeah. Yep.
He's been everywhere.
I just think linebacker is what we really,
And like I said,
Well,
can you
sure.
imagine Thibodeau on one side, and then
oh my god,
on the
I know,
other?
I know. Wink is like smiling ear to ear, bro.
Yeah. I just feel like, but Ojolari's good too, but like next to Okereke, McFadden, I don't know. I just really want him as a linebacker right now.
Ojolari just got to stay healthy. Ojolari just got to stay healthy. That's it.
Yes, he does.
Put them
Here-
all on
here-
the field at one time.
Say what?
Put them all on the field. Put
Oh yeah.
Right?
Everybody.
put
Yes.
Simmons.
Screw
Put
it.
Simmons
Put them
next to-
all. Put them all.
Put them all on the field. Put all
Now,
the fast guys on the
I
field.
want to say this. So week one, G Barbie and myself will be at Buffalo Joe's. Buffalo
Okay.
Joe's is a huge Giants bar in I think it's in Addison. I think it's the address is in Addison, Texas. So that is where we're going to be watching the Giants
Yes.
Dallas Cowboy game.
I didn't know there was a Giants bar in Texas until now. I'm like a year late, but
Yeah, well,
I didn't know that
I'm glad we
existed.
met, so I told
Wow.
you about it. Yeah.
I know. I met you actually the day before the Barkley deal. Remember you did that little interview with me? We
I
talked
did,
about
yes.
it.
And it's on YouTube.
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
Every
If anyone wants to know what I look like, because I clearly am not.
Oh, stop it.
Every area has a Giants bar. In Tampa, here in Tampa Bay, it's the North 30th bar over right near USF, which is funny because whenever I go to that bar, I have to wear my JPP jersey just because it feels right.
Too, that's funny. Yeah, you just show up.
It's like literally right next to it. You can like walk to campus from that bar, basically.
Wow.
So
But-
we're gonna have to end the show, and it's gonna end on a good note here. Justin, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having
But
me.
before I do this, Drew, go ahead and give me your final thoughts for tonight.
Well, I think overall it's an exciting day, I think, for Giant fans because we made a move that helps the team, didn't give up a lot in the process, and has the potential to pay big dividends. But if it doesn't, it's no loss. I think I'd be also remiss to say that I should also mention, I don't know if you guys mentioned earlier, it was nice to see today Prince Mukamura sign a one-day deal with the Giants and retire as a New York Football Giant. I think that's the small things that some fans miss and don't understand. That's important. Other players see that. This is a guy who hasn't played for us since 2016.
Yeah.
He wanted to come back and retire as a Giant. The Giants wanted him to come back and retire as a Giant. That's a move that helps when free agency time comes. They see those kind of moves, that kind of class act. So kudos to Prince on a great career. Kudos to the Giants on making that move happen there. It's a classy move by all of them.
Well, Drew, I appreciate you swinging by. And
Appreciate you having me as always.
Let me hear one time.
Oh, I always mess this up. Every time.
Too, don't worry.
There's no judgment.
Everybody does. Don't
whatsoever.
worry. No judge. No judgment.
How does it go again? Give me one more time.
It's let's go Giants, and then ow.
See, I always do like Ric Flair is the problem. I always go like
And
Ric Flair
that'll work.
on you at the
Hey,
Hey,
let's go Giants. Woo!
I'll take it, brother. Hey, you have a good night. Good
Take it
seeing
easy,
you,
guys.
man. Be good. G Barbie, you're up next.
Oh man. Anyways, side note. Does
Well,
anyone else
I'll
feel
tell you what.
like-
Give me your final thoughts, and then we'll get into the outro later.
I just feel like for whatever reason, it just feels like it's taking so long for week one to come. And I don't know.
you're so right.
I don't know if it's because I'm like, this is the first time, not the first time, but I haven't been like this excited for a team and like everyone we haven't in a long time, that like I just wanted to like start already because I want to see, because obviously preseason, not everybody that we're excited about is out there all at once. So to see everyone all at once on both sides of the ball, I'm just like, I just am ready to see it. And I literally am like 2 weeks. No, I can't wait anymore. So anyway, that's my last thought. I think I already said the rest of my thoughts, but I
And
don't.
let me go ahead and hear it one time. No judgment. Go ahead.
You
You
know,
can
this
do
is my
it.
favorite part.
You're all right.
All
Go
right, let's go Giants. Ow.
I'll take it.
Bye.
You have a good night. I'll talk to you soon. Danny, what's your final thoughts, man?
Man, I'm excited for Darren Waller. Oh
Can
my
I
God.
say something?
Yes, go
Dan,
ahead.
my
Yes.
final thoughts was going to be, we have been talking about the New York Giants for the last 2 hours, and we have not said his name once. Go ahead.
Dude, I am so stoked. I have like a good feeling about this guy, but he just got to stay on the field. He just has to stay healthy, and I just don't all teams out there for NFL teams, when we get in the red zone, be very careful for us because we're gonna dominate that red zone. I'm telling you. And if they put him and Bellinger together on the same like 2 tight end set, oh my God. Oh my God.
It's a wrap.
Yeah. And I'm just hoping the best for Isaiah Simmons, Let's just hope for the best for him. I'm still excited, and I know him and Wink are gonna partner up, do big things, and let's hope for another playoff run, guys. Let's hope for another playoff run.
And a deeper one, too.
Yes, sir. And just one more thing, Justin, you and your partner Bobby doing great things. I follow you guys. You guys keep doing your thing. Just keep bringing that giant content to us, brother. Keep bringing
Thank
it.
you, man.
Keep up the great work.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
All right, brother. And Sneaky, good night, and Justin, good night, and let's go Giants. Ow! Later,
I
fellas.
appreciate you. Justin, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight. And I think it came to mind. We were talking about it, how the Giants don't give out anything, right? I remember how the first interview that we did, you interviewed me actually, and you asked me about the defensive coordinator, Graham at the time, how I felt about him. And I'm like, I like his thought process. Are we going to do a 4-3 or a 3-4? And he said, yes. And I really enjoyed that interview. And I remember that excitement I had with you, and we were talking about it. And here we are, 3 years later, still grinding it out, expressing our love for the Giants. And I think we of course we became friends before you teamed up with Bobby. And man, I'm so glad on your success and what you've been able to do, and also with Bobby. You guys do great things, and you guys throw one hell of a tailgate. No disrespect to J18. J18 is legendary, right? But you guys have it catered, and I mean they have it catered too, but you just can't go wrong. You just got to make sure you know where you guys are at, and J18 as well, because you guys put on a really good spread as well.
No, thank you, man. We're that's actually the one thing that I want to do bigger and better this year. There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that we're still working on in terms of getting that done, but hopefully whenever you come by the Talking Giants tailgate crew, L16, our L16 tailgate crew, on the curb, it's the place to be, and we're going to do that bigger and better this year. That's probably like if we could get the behind the scenes stuff done, that's like my biggest goal, is to not only, you go to Talking Giants for the analysis and all that stuff, but I want you to come here for lifestyle too. That's where I want to take over next. So I appreciate you always coming by. I appreciate you. This is a lot of fun. I mean, we were chatting, like, we started off by saying, we've been friends since like 2019, and I was still in college, and I spent a little too much time on my hobby, and now I'm very lucky that I get to call it my full-time job, and I've gotten to call it my full-time job for like the last 2 years. And team's gotten better. We're in a really good spot as a show, and we're looking to grow and we're looking to do more. So thank you so much for having me on.
You know what? I really, you were talking about you being a 2-time Super Bowl champion because of Eli. Myself, we got to remember that we are 8-time world champions, New York Football Giants, and I can't wait for us. Like I was able to celebrate all 4 of these Lombardis. Right now, we will get to celebrate the 5th one together, and I think that the next one is going to be so much sweeter because, damn it, we've been earning our stripes, and
we have this.
Yes,
you know,
and we are due. We are due. So, Justin, that being said, give me your final thoughts, and of course, I got to hear it one time from you.
Yeah. No, again, thank you for having me on. It's always great catching up with you. We'll do it again soon. Shout out to everybody that hung out with us tonight. Either you're in the chat, you're not in the chat, or you kind of came on and you chatted with us. Talked with some new people tonight, which is always great. Get to see some faces or at least hear some voices. So appreciate everybody. Really excited for Giants football this year. In the words of Mr. Brownstone, let's win some games and let's go Giants. Ow!
I appreciate you, brother. Have a good night. I got to end it with that. Justin, again, thank you so much for coming on. This has been an awesome time. Guys, I want to thank every single one of you that came on, listened, wrote comments, whatever the case may be. Thank you so much. Guys, this is what it's all about right here. Fellowship, family, and football. This is Giants football right here. Love y'all. Be good. Make somebody smile. Until then, I'll see you next Tuesday. Let's go Giants.
Is this thing on?
It's your boy Stefan, a.k.a. Sneakyg.
Yeah. Lyrical assassin.
Let's go Giants.